Hi, friends. Is Eric still mad? Well, of course he's still mad. Why wouldn't he be? People are still idiots. I tell you who's not an idiot. Rachel. After all this time, it really turns out that during all my ranting and raving and stuff, Rachel on a couple of occasions has explained exactly what's going on with her. And I've sort of bowled through and not really listened to her. But who should everyone have been listening to this whole time? Rachel, of course. Obviously me. Yes, obviously everyone should listen to me all the time. But Rachel was the one who yesterday told me, well, I have neuropathy. I'm like, what's that? And of course she does. She has neuropathy from a toxic drug interaction. Which makes me just so fucking furious at all of these doctors. Not one of them has said the word neuropathy one time. If you Google it, it's obvious what she has. She figured it out. I call it serotonin syndrome, but no, basically she's got neuropathy from a toxic drug interaction. How come Rachel and I figured this out ourselves after going to 4 fucking doctors? And not one of them mentioned it, including the neurologist. Anyway, things are a lot better today than they were yesterday, though. A lot better. Rachel needed to take her Prozac, and yesterday she did. And it's like, from my perspective, the physical symptoms of Rachel's miggity are no big deal for me. I mean, obviously they're a big deal to her, but as long as she's not depressed / crazy / having mental health issues, that is hard for me to deal with because it makes me feel like I am dealing with shit alone, basically, But yesterday she took her Prozac, and as before, bam. So, we were trying to delay her taking it again for as long as possible on the grounds that it had at least something to do with the toxic drug interaction. Did she in fact have serotonin syndrome for a few weeks? I'm absolutely certain of it as well. Yes, because otherwise she would have needed that Prozac a lot sooner, right? So, today when I call the neurologist, I'm going to leave a rather short but powerful message. Dear Shyster, no, we are not coming back on Monday. You stole our $250 and did nothing on Friday, and didn't even have the courtesy to listen to me enough to recognize that we already had a diagnosis and we were looking for a solution. Instead, you just stole my $250 and told me that it wasn't your fault that your lady told me the wrong thing. You're an arrogant fucking ENTJ prick who's stupid. Most importantly, right? Neurologist. Not the word you put next to stupid usually, right? But absolutely, ENTJs are stupid fucking people. By any reasonable measure. They think they know what's best without any particulars, right? They don't need the particulars. They're going to figure it out themselves on the fly. No, you need the particulars, you stupid fuck. You need to actually know what happened. It's like SI matters too, you fucking moron. But the worst thing of all, it's throughout all these processes, nobody ever checks these fucking doctors. Nobody ever tells them, hey, retard, stop being a retard. You know? Nobody ever tells them how retarded they are. Except for Eric, of course. I will tell him exactly how fucking retarded he is. Why? Because I woke up mad again. If you want to know exactly what's wrong with Rachel, she told me yesterday exactly what's wrong with her, and I should have listened to her sooner, because I think she probably told me sooner. She has neuropathy, and I added the part because of a toxic drug interaction. It's super self-evident if you just Google neuropathy. Those are exactly her symptoms. And she called it early on when she said she could tell these physical impacts were going to be permanent or semi-permanent. She could tell early on. She just said it. She knew. You know? And unfortunately, I think she's right. I think they are going to be either permanent or semi-permanent. Probably semi-permanent. I think they're going to gradually get better over the course of the next year or so, you know? But, boy, the medical profession is absolutely fucking horrible. Only the most retarded, stupidest people go into medicine. They don't understand even the basics of doing their job, right? They don't even know what their job is. They've completely forgotten about the fact that there's a client whose needs need to be met because they're going to take money from them. Can you imagine if mechanics operated like that? Well, I had to look at the car for a while. That'll be $250. Did you fix it? No, I looked at it. I looked at it with my valuable eyes. That's what I did. My incredibly valuable eyes, I looked at it. That'll be $250. No, fucktard. Fix the problem or don't claim to deserve money. You know? This is what happens when everybody thinks that they're not spending anybody's money when they get healthcare shit done. Fucking retards. The world is full of retards. And Eric's mad about it. But you know, once we got some Prozac and Rachel last night, and she went back to being normal Rachel, I kind of felt like extra clingy, like I said to her last night, I feel like a kid whose mom's got back from the hospital. Yesterday was a busy day. I had three typing sessions. Then I had to go. No, I did not have sexual intercourse in high school. Not until my freshman year of college. Anyway. Yeah, I'm still mad. I'm mad at doctors, Sean. I'm mad at doctors for charging money and not fixing their patients. For charging money to start over every time from the beginning. It's like, what do doctors need to do, first of all, if they're dealing with me and Rachel? What's the number one thing they need to do, even before talking to Rachel? They need to listen to Eric and answer all of Eric's questions. Now, I don't deny the neurologist has a lot more knowledge about neurology than I do, right? But he's going to be wrong, way wronger, doing it his way than doing it my way. Because I'm way smarter than he is. Because I'm an ENTP and he's an ENTJ. So he's a super successful, respected doctor, and I'm a loser on the internet. But that doesn't change the fact that he's retarded and I'm smart. Hi, Anton. Are you raising your hand? Why didn't I get laid in high school? Because I was not reproductively viable. I was a weirdo, you know? I grew up in the 80s. There's no place for Eric in the 1980s. There's no place for Eric. Let me just tell you that right now. The 1980s was not a good decade for Eric's. I was fine, but everybody just thought I was a weirdo, you know? Nobody, I didn't have other intuitives really around me that I could grok with. You know, I was that weird kid who sings in the hall. Well, you'd think they'd have some kind of humility. That's what they need, is humility, right? They need to listen to Eric. Instead, they all just chase their own little pet theory, and when it doesn't come true, they lose interest. Like, if you were a smart person and somebody walked in and talked about these symptoms that Rachel has, you would ask her, what was the antecedent to the symptoms? When I told this fucker, hold on a second, before you barrel down the highway full blast with your SETE bullshit, hold on a second, motherfucker. You should know this. She smoked a shit ton of DMT right before the symptoms hit. DMT, what's that? Typed a couple things into the computer and just proceeded forward ignoring what I said. I'm a real life Dr. House. And I'm not a doctor. And yet I'm a better doctor than every medical doctor I see. How is that? Yeah, why is Dr. Ingram good? Because he's an INTP, I think. Maybe an INFP. Either way, he's a deliberator. Yeah, instrumental NI is a bitch. This doctor thinks he can just observe his way to victory. He needs to listen to Eric articulate the SI specifics and then listen to Eric help him think. Because he's not a good thinker. He's a stupid, stupid man who very richly deserves my foot up his ass. Fucking ENTJs can suck it. It's like Rachel and I were saying in the car yesterday. You know, she was talking about Chinese astrology and how, well, we need all the animals. And I said, yeah, like we need all the 16 personality types. Except ENTJs, of course. We don't need them. They just get rich off of the rest of us. Okay, 4 doctors is enough, Hero Lamb. 4 doctors is enough. Yeah, I remember Brian Chambers. He can suck it too. Just another TE idiot. He can suck my Walgreens. Okay? Meanwhile, of course, I'm still waiting for my prescription to come through. Why am I waiting for my prescription to come through? Because CVS wants to play stupid games with me. That's why. Every month they want to play stupid games with me. Last month, they told me to go to Walgreens. Can you believe that? Everyone can suck it. That's right, Andre Z. Everyone can suck it except for you guys who are here and me and Rachel. She can suck it, but only this, But everyone else can suck it in the colloquial sense, okay? They can suck my Walgreens. If you're not here listening to me or Rachel, you can suck my Walgreens. That's right. Go to Walgreens. Can you believe they told me that? These fucking people, because they don't want to give me my drugs every month. And every month they go in there and say, once again, you fuckers don't have my drugs. Even though I tell you, I've gone there, I've said to them this before. Would you like me to draw on a piece of construction paper, don't forget Eric's drugs, and paste it on your wall for you? I've actually told them that before. Well, they are superior. They sell cigarettes. But I don't want to let CVS win. I don't want to let CVS get rid of me. I want to continue to be a pain in the ass until they fix the fucking problem. Because that's just how I am, right? I'm that guy. My Adderall. They don't want to give me my Adderall every month when it's due to come in. Every fucking month I get this text. We've placed a special order. Anticipate it. Well, it doesn't really work like that. Yeah, well, maybe it should then, you fuckers. Every month they come in here. Fix it. Well, there's a lot of drug shortages going on right now. A lot of places. I don't want to hear your fucking excuses. Fix my fucking problem. This is one of the advantages of being a cash patient for everything, too. It's a huge advantage, right? You're so much more empowered to complain. I paid you this much money out of my pocket and you did nothing. This is a problem. Well, you need to get insurance. You need to suck my fucking Walgreens. Insurance is the problem, not the solution. Thank you, Legends Fall. Yeah, I'm feeling TE6 right now. Anybody want to bring any TE up in here is going to get my foot directly up their ass. I don't want to hear any TE bullshit today. TE can fucking suck it. I'm mad at TE. I'm mad at TE and I'm mad at ENTJs. I'm mad at TE users. If you're a TE user, just shove your own TE up your ass right now. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to smell it. Just get it away from me. You know what's a powerful FE thing to say? I'll tell you. Yesterday at the end of the last session, I told the client, I gotta go because I have to go help my elderly father take a new wheelchair to my mother at the nursing home. Like, if that's what you got to do, nobody's going to be like, don't do that. Everyone's like, wow, oh, shit, if you got to go do that. You know, it's like, who wouldn't, who would fight back against that? No, I'm just saying the TE can fuck off, okay? I'm just saying I don't want any of their TE nonsense today. I don't want any solutions. I'm complaining. Okay? That's all I'm saying. I don't want to hear any goddamn solutions from anyone. I am complaining. The solution is people get yelled at by Eric. That's the solution. I don't want any real solvency here. I am busy complaining. That's what I mean. Okay? INTJ, as you know, I love you. But now is not the time to solve my problems. I am complaining instead. We are problem admiring right now. I'm admiring the problem and shaming it and kicking it in the face. You know what I started last night? This really super good. It's called Extraterrestrial Boys and Girls. It's on anime. And it's about these kids who get a vacation to a space station, and then a comet hits it. It's really good. But, you know, I woke up mad. I woke up mad at Rachel's mom, too. The way that her visit out here played out was very ugly, you know? And why? Because she's a fucking scumbag narcissist, you know? That's the last thing her daughter needed when she's undergoing this big challenging medical thing is her mother to come down here and be all narcissistic with her, but that's exactly what happened. Of course, Rachel knows, but Rachel's very accustomed to the reality, which is no matter how much Rachel knows and how right she is, I'm not going to be satisfied with that. You know, it's like, I've got to know, I've got to learn it for myself. Sometimes that serves us well. No, I'm not angry mad. I'm ragefully mad. Okay? I'm ragefully mad. So Rachel, last night, we had dinner with my dad, and then we were watching the USC basketball game, and she wanted to go return a couple things at the mall because, you know, she took her Prozac and all of a sudden she was back to being stable. She'd been in a declining state of mental health for about a week. Okay, so the you are not my girl's best friend who I hope to bang one day, though. That's a part of the analogy that breaks down, okay? Well, I mean, I knew she needed to go back on it eventually, and I had predicted that after about 3 weeks, she was going to have a depressive episode, and then the physical symptoms were going to go away. But what I was wrong about, and she was right about, it was looking increasingly like, is that in fact, the physical symptoms are not going to go away. That she has neuropathy from a toxic drug interaction. And it's kind of gratifying to know that because there's no way we really could have anticipated it. Yeah, it is good she met another weirdo, and it's good I met another weirdo too. And this is the thing that Rachel, I think, doesn't really understand. She doesn't understand how much I need her. You know, she understands too clearly how much she needs me, but it's not as clear how much and why I need her so much. But I definitely do. Like last night when she was back to being Rachel and the mental health decay had been put a stop to, you know, and now she's back to normal mentally and emotionally. It was such a relief for me. I was feeling super clingy, you know, like it's very upsetting to me when she's not okay. It's like I just want to need really, and having Rachel a companion who, you know, I was able to get what would basically be impossible in Rachel, which is somebody who has little enough going on in their life that they can just simply come and join my life completely, but isn't completely fucked up, you know? And the thing is, she was like a thoroughbred horse at the sale who's got a weird spot on them. You know, she was a lot more valuable than her sale price because she just needed to have a couple little things fixed. She's like, you know, that long shot draft choice from the NFL. The NFL is this guy who got injured his senior year really badly. But it turns out they could fix the injury completely, and he came back and he turned into be a superstar, you know, and it was a great draft choice. That's what I think of Rachel as being. Because how do you find somebody who's got no kids, no ex-husband, no sexually transmitted diseases, nothing going on, loves me, my channel, and my music, is 34 years old, you know, and, you know, it's like, it's not something reasonable to ask for. You're going to have to get somebody with something wrong with them, right? But if you can fix it, then that's fantastic. And when Rachel's on her combination of drugs, it's true that I don't want solutions, I just want to vent. Well, the thing is, I wanted more than just vent. I'm definitely going to call that doctor today because we're supposed to go down there Monday morning. We were supposed to have gotten tests on Friday, right? But the place that he sent us to and supposedly called and prepared for us to arrive was closed when we got there an hour before he said it was going to be. Here's what I want everybody to do today. He wants to test for B12. Right? He's convinced it's a B12 deficiency. Because he's got a intelligence deficiency. Because once again, he's a doctor who comes in with his little pet theory, ignoring Eric. The last thing any doctor wants to see is a meddling husband trying to interfere with their treating of their patient, right? Except, in this instance, that's the only thing that would save their stupid fucking asses. Except Dr. Ingram. All praises due. But he listened to me. The whole first session was me demanding he answer all of my questions. Well, how do you know it's this? I mean, what test would you do? What is exactly the testing for? Blah, 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 blah. You know, all good debate questions you would ask of anybody presenting a case to you. And doctors think they're immune from that. Well, let me tell you what I have in store for them. It is a very outraged harumph. That's what I have to say about it. I tell you, I am very gratified to remember, I wasn't there to witness it. I was there to witness it over the phone. Very satisfying memory is the day that I called in to talk to Rachel's healthcare people in New York. And boy, did I have that office running around with their fucking heads cut off. Because when they read her chart to me, how she's got being treated for cannabis addiction, and I said, hold on, do you have any kind of paperwork that suggests she ever agreed to this? Boy, that threw that office into a tizzy, because what? I challenged their TE, not their TI, right? Fucking retards. Like, that matters. The point is, it's a stupid thing to be doing. Not that she didn't agree to it, although that's hugely important too. But the thing is, the problem isn't that you don't have the right piece of paper. It's that you're abusing this woman. You fucking retards. You know? Well, there's nothing more satisfying for Eric than that. Boy, that was satisfying. See, I haven't had that same satisfaction with this ENTJ doctor. That's why I'm so mad. I haven't left my phone message yet. Canceling my appointment tomorrow. Rachel's appointment tomorrow. We'll talk to Dr. Ingram on Friday. Until then, we will operate with the only logical and successful diagnosis, the one that Rachel made early on. She was right, not me. She was righter than me. I wasn't exactly wrong, but I was wrong about my optimism about certain things, maybe. Definitely. I thought the physical symptoms would go away with the excess serotonin. In reality, after the 3 weeks were up, the need for serotonin returned, but she's still experiencing the physical symptoms. So, what does that mean? Neuropathy from a toxic drug interaction. It's that fucking simple. She called it early on. And she was right the whole time. And I was ranting about how you should listen to me. Because that's the kind of guy I am, you know? But sometimes my SI is right and Rachel's NI is wrong. Like last night. So after all of this, and we're finally back to okay, peace and harmony and love and happiness. What does she do? She goes to the mall to return something, and then she comes back here. She walks to the mall while my dad and I are watching the basketball game, and then she's there for a while, and then she calls me to pick her up, and I go pick her up, and she gets in the car, and we come back home, and then we get to the house. She goes, "Wait, where's my phone?" And I say, "Well, let's look for it." And we look, and she says, "Oh, there it is. It's in my bag." And I say, "Okay." And so we go inside, and then 40 minutes later, or 30 minutes later or something, she comes outside. I can't find my phone. Where's my phone? So we call it and we can't find it anywhere. And I say, well, you told me you saw it in your bag when we got out of the car when we were looking for it. Did you see it? And she's like, yes. I'm like, did you definitely see it or not definitely see it? I think so. I think so is not definitely, you know? I didn't see it. I just took you at your word. So we're going back to the mall. And sure enough, she had left it on the wall where she was waiting for me to pick her up at the mall. And in fact, the guy who was standing there, she'd also left her mask there on the wall. So she just picked up her mask, which was still sitting there. And then the guy, she asked if he'd seen her phone, and he had in fact given it to security. So she just had to go in and go get it. So in that case, my lack of trust of things I haven't seen and experienced for myself was correct. Like, yes, we needed to go back to the mall. Yes, we successfully retrieved her phone. It was a big disaster averted. I would have been mad if she had lost her phone, for sure. I would have been mad at her. I would not have been able to help it. Because it's like, we've been going through a lot of shit, and it's hard, and if she had lost her phone, it would have made me mad. I just would not have been able to avoid it. So I'm glad she didn't lose her phone. That's not how you spell strawberry, Alien 60. That's how you spell strawberry. Those are different things. A strawberry is a rural strawberry. Yeah, I was talking to one of the people I typed yesterday about well, I think what happens is she felt something in there that felt like a rectangle of the correct size and said it's in my phone. And so when I asked her, I mean, it's in my bag. And so when I asked her, did you see it? She said, I think so. What she meant really was she probably felt it in her bag and concluded it was her phone, but it really was something else, you know? That's what I think happened. Yeah. The more rural you get, the more URRs there are in your language. For example, the song I Like the Way You Do It Right There is a very rural sounding song because instead of saying there, it says there. I like the way you do it right there. You know that song? Does everybody know that song? If you don't, you should check it out. It's pretty good. So anyway, I'm a little mad at the medical profession. I'm a little frustrated at myself for not listening to Rachel more. But, you know, she was telling me news I didn't want to hear. So I wasn't. I didn't want to listen to her. That's the bottom line. It's okay. You're forgiven, Alien 60. You are forgiven. Wah, 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 wah. So, I have a feeling Dr. Ingram's going to be a little sheepish when he talks to us on Friday because we went to the emergency room when he told us to. They did nothing. We went to the neurologist when he told us to. He did nothing. And he knows my position, and we've discussed, in fact, a little bit by a message, my position on health insurance and healthcare and stuff, and he totally agrees with me. So, that's a smart doctor. And he's the one doctor that I picked, that I've researched and picked a doctor. The one doctor that I picked. Why did I pick him? I guess I could just tell that he was an INTP. He might be an INFP, but I think he's an INTP. He's the only doctor that I picked. I researched the shit out of it, and he seemed like exactly the right guy. And he was. I'm very proud of myself. I'm feeling super emotional this morning. Well, the update is Rachel took her Prozac yesterday for the first time in a month, and she needed it for increasingly for about a week. So it returned her to sanity. And yeah, I've got pain in the ass Alan at 4 o'clock. I don't know if you guys were here for that particular live stream, but there's this guy who's a pain in the ass, and so anyway, why is he a pain in the ass? Because he doesn't want to use Google products. So he doesn't want to use Google Calendar or Google Meet. It's like, okay, well then what do you expect when we have a miscommunication about like time zone or whatever? When you reject the tools that prevent those things from occurring, that's what you get. It's like if you'd been a normal person, you would have seen on the Google Meet link or invite that it was the wrong time. You could just propose a time change right there in Google Calendar, and I can accept it, you know? Instead, you don't use Google products. Why not? Why the fuck not? Just to be difficult? Oh, yeah, I remembered his name. I recognize his name. I don't know. You don't like how Google operates? I love Google. Google has me completely smitten. I love everything Google. So I don't know what the problem with Google is. Google's fantastic. Everything fits together nice and neat. No Bing. I mean, seriously. Who's gonna use Bing? But the point is, if you're a doctor, it's a good idea for you to be a deliberative type. I don't care. Google can sell all my information they want. I'm not into privacy. Okay, I don't have any privacy. I don't like privacy, and that's fine. Privacy's dumb. We can all agree with that. Privacy is dumb. Privacy is how information doesn't flow. Right? Privacy is one person's asserting ownership over information to the exclusion of all other people. Privacy is stupid and shitty. No, you don't own privacy. That's a mistake. Privacy is something you can attain via things you own, right? But you have no right to privacy. You have an affirmative right to enforce your own privacy. But that's a very different matter. You have no right to privacy. You have no negative right to privacy. That's insane. If you did, then anytime I was looking at you, you could insist I look away. Which is, of course, insane. Some people like their privacy. That's fine. I respect people's choices regarding it. I make contractual agreements to do so all the time. You know, people understand when they get typed by me that they don't have to publish. It's totally their choice. And when I share with them privately, I never do publish anything. You know. So the thing is, I'm capable of operating in a world where people like privacy, but that doesn't change my fundamental position on it, which is privacy is bad. Privacy is how actual bad stuff gets away with being actually bad over the long term, and how things that aren't really bad but society wants to be judgy about continue to be perceived as bad. It's because people hide shit they don't need to hide because they're going to get judged for it, and they also hide shit they do need to hide because it's actually bad. Now, shit that's actually bad shouldn't be hidden because it should be stopped. Shit that's not actually bad shouldn't be hidden because there's no need to hide it. Every time they talk about those privacy checkups, I always say, like, yes, have all my information. I don't care. Stop asking me about this. I know people operate that way. They're wrong to do so, but that's up to them. Look, I support their affirmative right to enforce their own privacy. Okay? Don't get me wrong on that. I support their affirmative right to enforce their own privacy. But to the extent that they frame it as a negative right to privacy, they are wrong. I don't like privacy. I mean, introverts like privacy. People don't. It's obvious that this is a function bias thing on my part, right? I'm an extroverted intuitor. I wish all action in life were action in life on the external metaphysical field where everyone could look at it, because that's where I operate best. But for people who aren't metaphysical action types, then they're going to feel exposed in those sort of contexts, right? And that's to be expected. So obviously I'm just expressing my function bias here, but I'll also believe what I'm saying as a universal good, but that doesn't mean anybody has any moral obligation to behave accordingly. So I have a very carefully parsed position on this. It's not, I'm not overreaching in any way. No, I mean, look, there's a difference between there's a difference between bodily function stuff and everything else. Okay, so like sex and going to the bathroom are a different kind of privacy than what we're talking about, really, right? Like, people don't want to be seen when having sex because it's their private, intimate moments. People don't want to be seen when pooping because it's their private, intimate moments or whatever. That's a different kind of privacy than the kind of privacy we're talking about. Okay, I don't think I don't think any sane person would dispute that individuals, to be healthy, comfortable individuals, need private time. Right? But private time and data privacy are very different matters. So, like on an SI level, yeah, you need privacy. It's just on a word level that I object to privacy, because when true words are able to be said and understood. Well, I mean, look. What about the government? Does the government deserve privacy? the government asserts a lot of privacy, you know? In other words, there's all kinds of stuff that's classified, secret, etc. And people feel threatened by any organization well, I'm saying when we're talking about data privacy issues, personal privacy time is not a meaningful factor in that equation, right? It's like, it's a separate matter. As to, as I said, I've never opposed the affirmative right to enforce your own privacy, which is to say, close the blinds and close the door when you're pooping, right? Close the door when you're having sexual intercourse. And it's a natural social function of people in real life interacting with each other to respect those physical boundaries, right? That's a very different matter fundamentally than data privacy. Because in the former, you're talking about something that's real-time experience, right? It's not so much information as it is experience. Now, I'm not saying they have an obligation to not walk in. I'm saying that that's the sort of thing that we don't deal with in terms of like TI morality, right? That's an FE thing because it's a real-time experiential interaction with human beings. Yeah, it's an FE thing. No, the government isn't one person. I agree with you, and that's a fine thing to do. If I were making a more specific argument, you'd be saying basically, Eric, you lack agent specificity here. It's called ASPEC in debate. But I'm just pointing out that various agencies within the government assert the right to privacy in calling in various things. And sometimes it's appropriate, and I'm not making a blanket statement about whether or not I'm not making any policy advocacy here. I'm making a general statement that says this. Part of the problem with privacy is it creates this phenomenon I've already described, which is one where actually bad shit is able to be covered up, whereas stuff that's not bad but people are judgy about is kept in the closet, so to speak, when it shouldn't be, right? And I'm just making this sort of broad moralistic statement about things. I'm not advocating anything specifically. I'm not saying we can cascade down from this broad statement any sort of policy prescriptives in particular. I'm just making this broad statement that it's unfortunate that we live in a world where secrecy in general operates in the end to do those two things, right? To hide stuff that shouldn't be hidden because it's bad, and to keep stuff judged about that shouldn't be judged about. Like, if everybody knew how freaky everybody was, nobody would really be judgy about shit, right? If everybody knew what everybody else's bad habits were, nobody would really be that judgy. Yeah, well, need to know. I mean, need to know is an interesting concept, right? Because it's only a concept that the exclusive possessor of the information can determine. In other words, those who don't know have no capacity to voice whether or not they need to know. So it's a one-directional justification, right? I mean, does it bother me when people overshare about their personal life, like complete strangers at the grocery store or something? That doesn't happen to me. People don't come up to me and talk to me about their personal life at the grocery store. I don't know. It just never happens. Sometimes, like dudes will talk to each other and me or whatever about some sporting event that's going on. Like in line, I can remember a couple occasions where it's been like I see some guy and like ram stuff, and I go, so like, how do you think we're gonna handle the 49ers next week? Something like that, or they might say something like, "Ooh, big win today, big win" to me, and then I'll say like, that was a good game. I watched it too, or if I haven't, I say I missed it unfortunately. But what do you think they're going to do with the 49ers next week? That's sort of exchange I'll have with people in the world, sports stuff sometimes. But I like to make jokes when. Well, the thing is, what's wrong with something bad if it's kept to yourself? Well, the thing is, the issue is whether it's actually bad. If it's actually bad, then it's bad because it's actually bad. If it's not actually bad, then keeping it to yourself is just furthering your own limiting belief that you're engaged in something that you should be ashamed of when you shouldn't be ashamed of it, right? So those things are usually consumption behaviors like drugs and alcohol, and or sexual behaviors like freaky stuff. I'm pretty vanilla myself, so I don't identify with that, but I know that's something that people keep hidden about themselves, is their sexual proclivities, because other people will judge, and that's and it depends what they're doing as to whether or not other people should judge. If they're cheating on their husband, it's appropriate to be judged for that. If they and their husband are playing Little Bo Peep, then who cares? Let them play Little Bo Peep or whatever they're doing. Little Bo Peep. Have I already talked to everybody about this idea that Rachel and I had I was talking about the joke, and she's the one who said that's a perfect commercial. This is a perfect commercial for a credit card that is saying they're going to forgive your past credit mistakes or something like that, right? And what they show is Little Bo Peep going places like at the bar or whatever. She's dressed like Little Bo Peep, of course, and a guy comes to her and, "Hey, what's your name?" She goes, "Little Bo Peep," and then the guy goes, "Lost your sheep, huh?" And like she goes through a succession of things like that where everybody's always telling her that she's lost her sheep, and then you feel like your past mistakes won't leave you behind. Do you feel like Little Bo Peep here, who's everybody's always remembering that she's lost her sheep? That's the only thing they ever remember about her. What about that time I won the dance recital? Okay? I'm a Little Bo Peep. I'm not just a sheep loser. I've done other things in life. For a long time, I kept those sheep and didn't lose them. Nobody ever mentions that part, They're always talking about me losing the sheep. You lose a flock of sheep one time, you go down in history as the worst sheep loser ever. You go down as the Bill Buckner of sheep possession. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh, Little Bo Peep. She lost her sheep, isn't the problem. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. That bitch lost her sheep. Little Bo Peep. How does she get that name anyway? Little Bo Peep. Is her name Bo Peep? But she's very small, so they call her Old Bo Peep. Yes, rimming is gross. Ew. I don't like any butt stuff, okay? Just keep your butt out of my sexual intercourse. Keep both people's butts out of sexual intercourse, as far as I'm concerned. That's disgusting. Oops, am I being judgy? Yes, I am being a little judgy. Well, to each their own, but ugh. Disgusting. I'm mad about stuff, Skygear. I mean, I'm sure some people, I don't know what fully private means. That's the very lowest rank in the military. Fully private. You're not even a little bit first class. You're full blast, third class private. You're fully private. You're never going to get to sergeant. Let alone lieutenant. Why is lieutenant spelled that way? That's not how it should be spelled. Can we all agree that lieutenant and sergeant are both spelled wrong? Why do they spell them that way? Well, the thing is Lil Bo Peep's last name Peep? And Colonel, thank you, OP998, I appreciate that. I hope that OP stands for objective personality. I hope you're the 998th subtype. Jack, don't be a rebel, okay? Now's not the time to rebel. Now's the time to conform with Eric's position on spellings. Sergeant, lieutenant, colonel, they're all spelled wrong. I'll tell you what's spelled correctly. Admiral. That makes sense. That's how it should be spelled. A-D-M-I-R-A-L. Admiral. Master Seaman. Nut Colonel. Nut Colonel. Now I'm tired. Tired again. Major is spelled correctly. Yeah. Major is spelled correctly. It's a good point. Look alive, sailor. That's what I'd say if I was the admiral. My dad tells a story of his time in the Navy when they had just finished painting this part of the boat that they were painting again for some reason. I don't know. I guess my dad said they used to be always painting the boat. And I guess it was like 2 different shades of gray or something. And this one sailor, when he was done with his painting can, he, I guess back in the day, he just threw it off the ship, off into the sea, the empty paint can. But it still had some splatters in it, and it went spinning around like this and it splattered the other shade onto the newly painted shade part. And boy, everybody was very upset. That's a story my dad tells about his time in the Navy. But I'm sure nowadays they don't just throw your paint can overboard like that. Wednesday is annoyingly spelt February. What kind of a word is that? February? It's not, it sounds like somebody trying to make their mouth work, after dental surgery. February? What kind of a word is that? February. That's not a good word. That's a terrible word. It does make it easier to remember to spell by thinking of it as Wednesday, and I bet a lot of children do that. I did that as a child, and I still do it to this day, probably. That's that good old SI. Just stuck forever in the past. Always looking backwards. She's so Arkansas-y? Sassy? Arkansas-y? Is that what you say about women from Arkansas? Nostalgia equals SI. Yeah, nostalgia definitely do equal some SI. It's a Mandela effect of spelling. February didn't used to have an R in it. And Wednesday didn't used to have a D. But then they met the Berenstein Bears, and voila! Voila. Hi there, Dulles. Boy. Are you saying boy? Or are you saying, hey look, there's a buoy in the ocean? If February is spelled February, if February is spelled February, then January should be spelled January? What? Yeah, the British spell a number of things wrong. They put an extra U in the word color for no reason. You know what? I think the Brits won. Oh, you missed part of the live stream because you were doing a bunch of cocaine. Why, Dulles, it is too early in the morning to be... Oh, you're still doing it from last night, I see. Okay, well, that's fine then. Oh, you mean actual snowfall? You must be somewhere where it's cold. It's cold here for here. It's 46 right now outside. Oh, yeah, I was mad. I was mad earlier. I'm mad about doctors again. I'm shaking my fist at the medical profession. But I'm happy because today's a new day, as Peter Dentici said last night to me. And yesterday was a big day for us because Rachel went back on her Prozac. And you're on a shoveling bender. 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. How wintry. That must be fun. You know, I'd be into some snow fall. But it's never going to snow around here. I mean, it snows up in the mountains. There's still snow on the mountains from the last time we had a rainstorm. I'm going to go back to bed pretty soon. I woke up mad. So, of course, what do I have to do when I wake up mad? As we've discussed before, Boba Fett needs to listen to me whine in order for fairness to attain in the world. So, I came on the internet and I said, "Hey, Boba Fett, it's whining time. You come listen to me." And he did. And then I felt a little bit better. I complained, I whined, I stomped my feet, I called people names, not any specific people, but doctors in general. I shook my fist, I wagged my finger, I crossed my arms, I harumphed like this, harumph, and now I feel better. I feel a lot better. Because that's what you have to do when you have emotions. Is you have to complain about them until they go away. Because, I mean, it's like in some part for some good reason. Most people the doctors see probably don't have much useful ideationally to provide to the affair, So in part it's I get that they're not used to me. But the thing to remember here is Rachel's not NETIing the shit to death. But she's the one who was right the whole time that she has neuropathy from a toxic drug interaction. Now I added the from a toxic drug interaction part, but she diagnosed herself with neuropathy fairly early on, and in fact that's exactly what she has. She's got either permanent or semi-permanent physical impacts from a toxic drug interaction. They created neuropathy in her. So she's lost a fair amount of fine motor ability. Is one of the primary impacts of it. She can still walk, and that's great. And I do think that in a year or so she'll probably have recovered almost all of that functionality. I'm hopeful, but it is going to be permanent or semi-permanent, it appears. And the thing is, not any of these doctors, not any of the 4 doctors we've seen, including Dr. Ingram, have we heard the word neuropathy from. And yet, if you Google it, as Rachel finally got me to do last night, as I finally did. This is not the first time she's mentioned it to me, but she, like I said earlier, she was telling me news I didn't want to hear, basically. And I wasn't willing to give up the fight that easy, I guess. But she was right the whole time. She was right the whole time about it. And nobody wants to listen to her, Including Eric sometimes, which is a terrible, terrible, bad job, Eric. Well, it's not good, but it's something that both Rachel and I can come to terms with. It's like I do believe she will gradually recover that functionality. It's kind of it's kind of a relief in a way, because there's basically no way we could have anticipated that exactly, If it were just the serotonin syndrome, then we could anticipate that. But we couldn't anticipate the neuropathy as a response to a toxic drug interaction. Usually it happens with things like chemotherapy and stuff. So, but if you just Google the word neuropathy like click the first link. There's this huge page on it, and it's clear as day. It's exactly what she has, and there are she has shown little bits of improvement. Yeah, she's getting a little bit better. I was hesitant to encourage her to reintroduce the Prozac because I wanted to make sure it didn't make the neuropathy any worse, But yesterday I checked with her on that multiple occasions, and she said it didn't seem to have any impact on that at all. So that's good. And anyway, it's something that Rachel's been coming to terms with for the course of a month, and that I've not been really willing to accept until now. But that's because I had a specific prediction that didn't come true, which is as she no longer needed the serotonin. As she started needing serotonin management again, her physical symptoms would go away. They didn't. The timing on the prediction of the serotonin going away was accurate. She's been in a state of declining mental health for about a week, which means that, in fact, it did stay in her system for about 3 weeks. And just like the last time when she was on Klonopin and olanzapine, but not Prozac, she started getting very depressed. And as soon as she took it, just like last time, she's perfectly fine again. So, the thing is, when Rachel's in a state of good mental health, she's way more of a trooper about it than I would ever be, and that's the thing, is she's a trooper about things across the board, and that's what I rely on her for more than anything else is I don't think it has anything to do with the benzos. Boba Fett. That might have been a piece of the toxic drug interaction in the initial occasion, but the antecedent to it was smoking a bunch of DMT. That, it entirely depends on the cause of the neuropathy, for instance, Mom. That's only in instances where vitamin B deficiencies are the cause of the neuropathy. And that's exactly one of the things I was getting so angry about at the neurologist about, is this belief in things that they've read or heard or even done before or whatever, and ignoring the specifics of this case. SI is the determinant factor here. It's not NI, it's not TE. It's TI and SI. We know what the antecedent to the symptoms was. And we know the symptoms are exactly consistent with neuropathy. And we know the causes of neuropathy come from 3 or 4 broad categories of thing. This falls under the toxic drug interaction category. And it's definitely that. Any other conclusion is inadequately TI robust. And so that's why one of the reasons we're so angry at this ENTJ doctor is because he's talking out of his ass about B12 and shit when we already know everything we need to know to understand what's going on here. But you have to ignore the SI component, what actually happened to be like that fucking neurologist. And of course, I'm not, he's SE pushing through everything. And I'm just going along with it because I'm like, okay, well, at least something's happening. But actually nothing happened, No, Klonopins are benzos. No, she is on benzos. She needs the benzos to sleep. And she's been on this combination of 3 drugs for a long time, and it's fine. That combination of 3 drugs is exactly what she needs to be on. But apparently, you know, adding a bunch of DMT of that particular variety of DMT anyway on that particular night with everything else. Well, I gotta recap and people will come in. It's like, yes, she'll keep taking the vitamin B. He wasn't a dick. He was an ENTJ. Right? So he was destined doomed to fail because he was destined doomed to not listen to me, and I'm an ENTP. So it's like, obviously, no matter how much training and whatever, I'm way smarter than that doctor. And so he needs to listen to me. But he wasn't listening to me. Yeah, well, that was just complete fucking bullshit. So, I don't know what to say about that. That was just like, okay. That was NI Tool, right? Well, they're not doctors. True. So anyway, I know we're not gonna go back there Monday. I'm gonna call and cancel. I'm gonna leave a message or something. I gotta do it today. But it's like, I'm not gonna get my drugs until Monday at the soonest. And if I don't get, if I get another text or something on Monday and they're saying, well, we don't have them yet, we have to order them again or something, then there's another group of people that need my fucking foot up their ass. I am so sick of CVS fucking around with my prescription every month. Well, thanks, Dallas. How F.I. of you. That's very sweet. Very sweetly F.I. of you. Oh, F.I. is funny. I have so much F.I. It's ridiculous. That's the thing about polar is I don't know how it is for other people, but for me, I'm increasingly realizing it's not so much that I don't have any FI, it's that it's all over the place all the time, That's the problem with yelling at people at CVS. I can't really yell at them that much because it's like I know that the people I get to yell at aren't the people who need to be yelled at. There's some people who need to be yelled at, and yelling at their underlings won't help. It's like, I just want to go through life playing and giggling or yelling at people. And that's it. And when I have to be something else, I don't like it. I want to be having a happy time. Whee! Or yelling at somebody who's making me unhappy. Yeah, I don't yell at employees generally. I'm much, much, vastly more likely to make hilarious jokes at the counter. If I have a good joke for them, I'll definitely make a good joke. Something about the situation allows me to make a good joke. You know, yelling at people isn't a cognitive function. It's a combination of an action type, which is any dom, which is I take action with my words, and type 8 in my tri-type, which is if I'm not allowed to play adequately, I get mad at people who interfere with my playing. Eh, well, that's what CVS told me, Winston's mom. They told me to go to Walgreens. And you know what I think about that? CVS needs to suck my Walgreens. That's what I think about that. They need to solve the problem instead of telling me to go somewhere else. I'm that kind of a pain in the ass guy, right? No. I want to complain about this problem every month until you fix it. I know. I know, exactly. I was surprised when they told me that last month. Go to Walgreens. No, motherfuckers. I'm not going to Walgreens. You're going to fix this problem. Or I'm going to complain about it every month. If not to you, at least to my friends on the internet. They'll get to enjoy me complaining about it. I'd rather complain than change my ways. That's way too TE. I'm not going to Walgreens. You know, now that I said that, I'll probably switch and go to Walgreens next month. That's the any dumb way. As soon as you say something like that, then you change it up. I've been up for a good almost 2 hours now. Am I out of coffee? That's the problem. I try not to hit Delilah up more than twice a month. I've already used up my quota this month. Besides, the thing is, I'm in this emotionally bruised state because of all the shit that Rachel and I have been going through, and so that makes me not in a hurry to get speed. No, they just don't like doing speed. They just don't like giving people speed. I've always, from the very outset, have I had problems with this. I mean, it says right on the label, mixed amphetamine salts. Yeah, I want my amphetamine salts, please. Okay. Here. Thanks. Oh, don't worry. I just use them as salts on food, mostly. No, I don't find the notions of emotions getting stuck in one's body absurd anymore either. I recognize it as being absolutely true. I think that FI 8th is most likely to find that absurd. Because it's your most unconscious. I'm really quite convinced that 8 is your most unconscious function. Which is to say, you're least capable of remembering instances of it. Which I know is kind of like an SI skewed definition. of conscious, but I think it's it's fine. It's like, the thing is, what they do is they bounce me between 3 different CVSs. Or actually 4 different CVSs. So they take turns having me as a problem. There's the one down there on Rosemead. There's the one down there on Baldwin, the one up here on Baldwin, the one over there on El Monte. There's four different CVSs they bounce me between as to which one has my drugs this month, you know. Of course, if I do not want to wait for them to order it, then I have to go there and say, you find me the CVS that does have it, and then they tell me, and then I have to go back to my doctor and say, retract that last prescription and send it to this other one, because it's a scheduled drug, so they can't just send it themselves, right? So it's a big pain in the ass, but TE6 means I like to complain more than I like to fix the problem. Thanks, Rain. Okay. I'm going to go back. Yes, I am in a nexus of CVS's. It's true. Emotions getting stuck in your body means... I mean, I don't really get it either. But Rachel expresses it without using those words fairly often. She'll say things like, I feel like I need to cry, but I can't. I mean, where else would it be stuck in? You know what, Jack? That conversation actually makes me want to now go to Walgreens. Imagining that conversation at Walgreens saying, hi, Walgreens. You know, I've asked my doctor to send my prescription here this month because CVS, after years of failure, finally told me to come here to Walgreens. And so, according to CVS, you're a better pharmacy than they are. So, let's see. If you see this man, tell him to go to Walgreens. Okay. This is a nice stream. Thank you all for being here and cheering me up and making me feel better and everything. I appreciate it. You know, I wake up all mad, but then at the end of the stream, it's just life's funny as always, and that's nice. So, I'm super emotional today, and I'm gonna go back to bed mostly because I'm feeling clingy still. You know, because I'm emotionally bruised, I don't want to do drugs really. I don't like real drugs. I mean, obviously I'll smoke weed. that's just all day every day. It's always 420 around here, motherfuckers. But I mean, it makes me want to not do speed because speed suppresses my emotions, you know. And I'm feeling emotionally bruised and clingy right now. Like, I want to go inside after I pull this bowl and lie down and maybe try to go back to sleep for a little bit because Rachel's in there, you know. Emotions get stuck in your body like songs get stuck in your head. It's a great lyric, right? That's a good one, Winston's mom. It's a good point. You make a good point there. Emotions get stuck in your body like songs get stuck in your head. Now that's a good start to a chorus. I tell you who had a really good, who had an NI songwriting, like lyric moment like that before she wrote this one song, is Beach Bunny has a song called "Good Girls Don't Get Used." It's like that's a great lyric, right? If you're a chick singer, not really work for me, but okay. Um, I'm gonna call it a stream. Thanks again for being here, everybody. You make me feel a lot better, and I'm not mad anymore. I'm still mad, but I'm not feeling emotionally mad. I'm just abstractly mad, which is the best kind of mad to be.